NFL are opening today, and so let's look at some of the other quarterback battles because there are some interesting ones. Dan, who's going to win the starting quarterback job in New Orleans, Jameis or Taysom Hill?
Yeah, Jameis Winston is going to be their starting quarterback, but I honestly believe it's a tough evaluation now with the news of Michael Thomas. He's going to miss some time at the start of this season. I think Taysom Hill's probably going to have to play some receiver just out of necessity. Their most experienced guy is Traquan Smith outside of Alvin Kamara when it comes to skill position guys. It's a tough evaluation, but Jameis Winston, given what happened to Michael Thomas, is going to be their starting quarterback. I expect Taysom Hill to play some receiver.
Mike T, Chicago, who wins the starting quarterback job there, Dalton or Fields?
It has to be Justin Fields. He's just too talented. We know what Andy Dalton is. Andy Dalton is a middle-of-the-road average starter at best. Justin Fields has enormous potential both with his arm and his legs. I know what their head coach said, but at the end of the day, I think there's too much of a talent gap, and pretty soon Justin Fields should win that job. I would think it's by the end of the preseason.
All right, another rookie situation here. Dan, the Patriots quarterback job, Cam Newton or Mac Jones? Who wins that?
Yeah, Mac Jones. This offense for New England is going to be one, run-oriented, and then two, great on third down, efficiency on third down. That'll be a Mac Jones strength. Now, I do see them taking a package for Cam Newton and having him be a big part of their offense. Situational stuff. Third downs, we can utilize quarterback run 11-on-11 football, red zone 11-on-11 football, also with the ability that he can still throw the ball, Cam Newton, but Mac Jones is going to be their starting quarterback.
All right, that's two rookies. Can I hear three? Mike, we go back to San Francisco. Trey Lance, Jimmy G. Who wins that job?
Yeah, it stops at 2 green. It's Jimmy G. 24-8 as a starter. If he's healthy and Nick Bosa and those other defensive players come back healthy, San Francisco can have a deep run in the playoffs. So for Jimmy G, it's never about his ability. It's about his health and durability. I expect him to be the starter on opening day.
Okay, so those are some of the battles that we have our eyes on. Much more football as the conversation continues today. But then let me get you to the superstar of the night, the global superstar of the night. It was showtime. Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Angels hosting the Rockies in the very first batter of the game. It's Ohtani facing Raimel Tapia, and that was just a sign of things to come. He got him swinging bottom of one now. Ohtani at the plate, a runner is at second, and that is a base hit. David Fletcher will score, so Ohtani getting it done in every conceivable way, driving in the run. The very next batter with Ohtani at first. He's stolen 42 bases in his career, but none as a pitcher. Scratch that. Now he's safe at second, so he's making an impact on the bases as well. And then 2 pitches later, Jared Walsh at the plate, and that's a base hit. Ohtani will score from second. He's the 4th pitcher in the last 30 years with a hit, a run, an RBI, and a stolen base, all in the same inning. Top of 5. Angels still up 2-0. Ohtani still on the mound. He's facing Dom Nunez. And that one is gone. A solo shot, just the 7th home run Ohtani has given up all season long. So the lead is cut in half. Top of 7, still 2-1 in favor of the Angels, and Ohtani facing Nunez again with a 1-2 count. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I don't think so. That's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Ohtani, 7 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. Angels go on to win it by a score of 6-2. The 5Ks last night give him an even 100 for the season. Plus his 35 home runs as a batter, most all time by a pitcher who also had 100 strikeouts pitching, and most by a wide margin. You see it down there. Wes Ferrell had the previous record in 1931 with 9. All right, as we continue, the big move is on. We'll tell you why yesterday might just have been the most important day in the history of college football. That is
hours flying back to Green Bay, which about a week ago, I can tell you a lot of people thought would not be the case, that he would not be taking part in training camp. But over the weekend, the two sides were able to put aside some of their differences and essentially put into place an agreement in principle that still has not been finalized. They still need to finalize that deal today before Aaron Rodgers is going to show back up to work, I believe. Now, there's no anticipation or expectation that it won't get done, but again, until it's done, it's not done, and it's not fully done right now. But Aaron Rodgers felt comfortable enough with where the two sides were at to fly back to Green Bay. The Packers were smart enough to make a number of concessions to him to lure him back to Green Bay for this upcoming season. And of all the concessions that Aaron Rodgers got, including the fact that he can't be tagged again, the fact that the last year of his contract was voided, the fact that there'll be more cap room created under his deal while he doesn't take any loss of money, really the single biggest concession that they've given him is they've given him the ability to play where he wants in 2022. He will have that freedom. If he wants to stay in Green Bay, then he can do that. If he wants to move on and get traded, he'll be able to do that. But the contract will have 2 years left, and it'll have 2 years left as opposed to just one, so that the Packers will have the ability to be able to get something back for Rodgers if and when they trade him after this season.
I have a bunch of questions, but I can see the look on your face, Mike T. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same questions. If we go back to what Rob Domofsky talked about the NBA, all those players had short contracts. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, they were able to go from team to team because they were free agents. Tom Brady, when he changed his contract on August 4th of 2019, he shortened his contract. I still need to see the details because if he's under contract for 2022, he's not a free agent. And what would prohibit Green Bay from changing his mind? So we have to see what the details of this contract say, because until he's a free agent, Green Bay still has a meaningful say in what happens to Aaron Rodgers' future.
So there's all of that. Shefty, can I ask you one other thing, too? Because I saw in the reporting yesterday, where are we on the Davante Adams of this all? The two of them posting that last dance picture or the mutually the other day, and now they open up cap space, and Davante Adams, another one who was only 1 year left on his contract. Where do we stand with that?
Well, the Packers can go to Davante Adams again if they so choose, but Davante Adams also is now in the last year of his contract. He'll know that Aaron Rodgers essentially could very well be playing his last season in Green Bay. And you see the simultaneous social media posts from last weekend of The Last Dance. I actually think last weekend they may have been referring to last season. Greeny, there's no way of actually proving that. And I think that the fact is that they'll get to do another Last Dance this season with Adams being on the last year of his deal and Rodgers potentially playing his last season in Green Bay. And so there is another Last Dance in Green Bay when I think the two men both thought there was a real chance that might have been last season, but you get the idea. Last Dance last season, Last Dance this season, whenever it is, they're on the clock and time is ticking away.
The 98 Bulls, and everyone saw it in Last Dance, the 98 Bulls, they all knew it was their last year together. They went into it knowing that. Phil Jackson, the coach, knew it. Scottie Pippen knew it. Michael Jordan knew it. So that there would be a parallel here, assuming that Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers both plan to be one and done, if you will, with Green Bay. Dan Orlovsky, go.
I feel like Shefty just gave us like the Cliff Notes version of the movie Gone Girl. And like Aaron is Amy, you know, and he's gone away and we're all like blaming the Packers for everything that's happened. All of a sudden, at the end, he comes back. It's like, you can't go on without me. This feels like a huge swing and miss by Rodgers in his camp. It just does. Like I know we continue to throw around the word concession, but like it doesn't seem like there has been a ton from the Packers other than saying, hey, we'll look at it again next year. And I said this to Mike T the other day, like the Packers get to eat their cake and have it too. Like, does that make sense? You want to,
no.
You know whatever the saying is. Like,
right.
They get to take the young quarterback, they get to groom the young quarterback, and keep the MVP of the league on the same team. You want your cake to eat it too, yeah. So they get to do that as an organization, and that just to me seems like a huge win by Green Bay. And I know that Shefty continues to bring up the point of like he gets to determine where he plays next year. So what happens if he goes to him and said, I want to go play in Minnesota? I want to go play with those two receivers. Like, are the Packers going to trade him in division? Like, how much say does he actually get?
No, I think, Dan, there's going to be certain stipulations about certain places he's not going to be able to go. I don't believe that ultimately he's going to be allowed to go play or choose a team in the NFC North. Not that that's going to happen. I think that there'll be a certain understanding, and my guess would be that he'll probably be dealt out of conference in the end if that's what he wants. Look, again, he's not going to have 100% say, but he's going to be able to dictate where he gets to play in 2022.
That's the point. It's that little nebulous. I understand Orlovsky's questions. You know, like either you have contracts are pretty simple at the end of the day, Mike T. Right, and you've made your life in them. They either say it or they don't. Like either you can go wherever you want to go, or we still have some control over the situation, and the devil is always in the details. So until we see the details, this will be fascinating to see where it lands.
No, that's exactly right. And ironically, if we go back to 2008, as Rob Demoski alluded to, at the Jets, we were able to get Brett Favre because as much as Brett Favre and the Packers were at loggerheads, and ironically, it was about getting Aaron Rodgers on the field from the Packers standpoint, they were not going to trade Brett Favre to the NFC. And that's one of the reasons we were able to get Brett, convince him to come to the Jets, was that he didn't want to be there. They didn't want him there anymore, but there was no way they were going to trade him to a team in the NFC, and we were able to take advantage of that opportunity. So as much as they're upset with each other, they're going to have to work together next offseason.
All right, fascinating. Again, Shefty continuing to work the phones, and we'll get all the details as this thing